It's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's also a show. Hey.
I really wanted to, because we've worked so hard on developing our set and everything. I baked you this bread, by the way.
Thank you very much.
I want to have
Did
Joey.
you actually bake that? Last time it was store-bought. That's a good looking. That's as a guy who directs commercials, that's a good looking. That's a good looking loaf. That's what they call the pack shot.
It's hard to shoot.
Close up.
It's hard to shoot food.
Yeah, it is hard to shoot. There's specialties. There's like people. I did a Jack in the Box or Carl's Jr. one time, and the main burger guy in LA wasn't available. And the backup burger guy wasn't available. So we had to use the third string burger guy. And then they ended up just photoshopping a burger where the it was so awful.
Yeah.
But it's like there's
an
not.
art.
Yeah. It's like it's like anything. It's a way bigger pain in the ass than you would ever believe.
100%. It's I remember just my mother had a small advertising agency and just still photos of food. It's like you just have to get something that looks like the food but much better.
Yeah.
It's not really the food by the time you're shooting it.
The food has ever looked. It's the food's wedding day.
Right.
That's what you're going for.
This is my day.
This is my day, and I'm steaming.
Well,
I'm moist and glistening.
I'll never look like this again.
Yeah.
Well, I was on the road Wednesday through today, so I pre-baked it before I left, knowing that I was going to see you, and then came home, took it out of the freezer, put it in for 200.
Froze it.
Now you're good to go.
Froze it. Mm-hmm. Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So you're in good shape. But I think because we have all this stuff going on, Joey should be in like a little vest, like Dangerfields or like one of those old, or like Mousson Franks.
Because of the production design, the checkerboard. Yeah.
Having like
the
espresso, Joey, stat.
Yeah. When your wife is here, do you ever almost hit her?
A lot of these.
Yeah, a lot of these. Hey. You know how I am.
You don't want to know. Don't ask. Don't ask. I don't want to have to tell you.
Yeah. Fuck. Maradon.
Your special's great.
Thank you.
I just want to mention that right off.
He said it off the air too, guys. So
yeah, it's so good.
True. Thank you.
It's really good.
Thank you so much.
I really like the title.
Thank you.
Crazy Good is it's got multiple meanings. It's really strong.
Rich. It's at least a double entendre.
Yes.
I caught the nice thing about having a special out is you'll catch nice, you'll get texts from people you haven't heard from.
Yeah.
And not like in a bad way. People you like, but you just, but my buddy Ezra directed the OJ Made in America documentary. One of the greatest pieces of art.
Man, I was watching that again.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's almost unbearable how good. It's almost unbearable to experience. Anyway,
it is.
So he's on the homepage because OJ died. We love you, Juice.
Hang in there, Juice.
We love you, Juice. Juice, chop God's head off. And anyway, so I sent him a still of OJ Made in America, like the main thing on, and then Crazy Good. And I sent it to him, and I was like, look, I like that we're together. And he wrote back, yes, but this weekend on Netflix, you're the real killer.
Nice.
Pretty nice. And I didn't even catch it. And I was like, wait a minute. That's a double entendre.
And it's reminiscent of one of the jokes from the special.
Athletes being insane?
The rape.
Oh,
killing.
yes. Yes, the rape.
Yes. I would have done this. Yeah, but that joke always. Yeah.
Yes, I have a rape joke, which
it is really good. And it's your most just straight ahead joke attack. It really is.
Oh yeah,
like it's like your other ones, the mics and blocks.
Oh, the special overall is a joke attack. Yes.
Yeah, it's the most. You always have great jokes, which we talked about last time on blocks. It was like it was in a context of something bigger, and this was just I'm walking out and I'm going straight at you, and it was really, really strong. The jokes are so good.
Thank you.
And you do such a good job. I was saying to Joe earlier that you're such a smart comic. It's really fun to check in with someone who's very current. You know, you're taking all these topics that are on everybody's mind and just interpreting them in a very funny, smart way.
Yeah,
it's a great thing that not a lot of people can do.
Well, I think as a viewer, it's like you don't want people to get to stuff too late. Mm-hmm. And you're like, what?
Yeah,
the Kardashians,
right?
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then it's also you have to get to stuff it's like Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. When I wrote the joke, it was plunging,
right?
And I had a part of that, and then it goes up, and you're like, I just have to be neutral, but it's if you're too far ahead, then people are like, I don't know what Bitcoin is.
Yeah, but it felt very today.
Great.
It wasn't like you were taking things. I mean, you know this, but our listeners don't. You weren't taking things like directly from today's headlines. But there's stories that have some shelf
Israel
life.
and
the Muslim
anti-Semitism and Islam and all that
stuff.
It's in fact it's this morning.
But attacking the Catholics is always evergreen.
I mean, that never gets old. Just like their favorite altar boys.
Hey,
never gets old. So I appreciate it, and
really good.
I worked. I don't know. I guess I worked hard, but it was more like I got a nice batch.
Yeah, right.
I just got a nice batch, and you always get nice batches in.
Yeah, that was.
And some batches are like, this one's a little better than the. I like all my batches, but this one is this one's a little extra good.
Yeah, it was. It's nice to see it trending on Netflix. It was nice when I went to go look it up. I was like, I was for some reason I was expecting it to be in my preview because of the radio show. I get to see stuff earlier, and I was like, oh no, this is easy to find. It's number 2 on Netflix.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, it is like, It feels like a real success.
Yeah, it does.
It feels like
good.
And then like it's very pop. So I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah,
like, great. It's the most success I've ever had as a comedian.
Really,
over 4 days. I mean, 3 mics was successful, but it's like boutique. This is like
off Broadway.
Yeah, this is like. More mainstream.
Right.
And
really good.
Yeah, it's hard to.
Now let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. I feel like personally, as your friend, it was a little bit of a sneak attack. This special, you were very quick. Your last one was 2022.
It was November 2022,
and for this one to come out early 2024.
Yeah,
you probably shot it end of 23.
November. Yeah.
That's fast.
It was, what happened was, I don't want to make you or anybody else feel insecure.
Thank you.
I had blocks before COVID. Then COVID happened.
Oh.
And then I had all this material, did it, and so I had 2 or 3 years of
the other
dormancy, so to speak.
Right.
Of like, this is and blocks was set up in such a specific way that I couldn't really. Like, there's a whole sports thing in this one that Robbie was like, why don't you put it in blocks? I'm like, because I don't have a mitt.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have a baseball I can put, you know what I mean? Like, But.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
because they came up quick.
I know, but I'm not doing that again, by the way. Like, I'm not doing, I had the thought on the way over here, like, I'm not trying to be Boeing. Where I'm just getting merch out the door,
just cranking
that doesn't
it out.
have screws,
right? Yeah. Well, I think being that this one is so successful and it's going to resonate for a while, you can take your time.
I hope. Well, or people have no attention span, and you have to strike when the iron's hot. I'm either blowing it or not.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to go on tour pretty quickly.
I'm not gonna rush it.
Yeah.
So. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go when I feel like I have stuff that's good enough. Mm-hmm. Like, which is a bad marketing decision, but like Boeing was just throwing planes out the door because they said they would.
I know.
So I understand that I am squandering attention and momentum. But then,
But I think a pause.
Jeselnik also
Yeah.
waits 3 years between.
Yeah.
And you just go, and then I'm relying on people to trust that it'll be good.
Right. No.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is not. You shouldn't trust people, but.
No. But you also just have to do it on your own time.
Yeah.
It's just your own thing.
Yeah.
There's no rule. There's no like following it, you know.
And I also don't think many of the people that were doing specials back to back to back, I didn't think they were all great.
Oh, no, exactly.
And it's like, well, and in fact, one of the people who was doing a lot of back to back specials said, like, I did too many.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Who's that?
He's a punt. I want bleep it.
Right. Bleep it, Joe.
Yeah. Joe bleep it. And Joe bleep it and blur it.
What was the phrase, because this could have easily have been the title of your special, Psychopaths and Drug Addicts.
It was probably the third runner up.
It was?
The problem with Psychopaths and Drug Addicts is it's a little clinical. You know what I mean? It's a little bit like, is he still on that?
Right, yeah.
This emo mental health thing. So it was like, just, you know, so I thought of it.
They wouldn't know it was about
they
everybody
wouldn't
else.
know it's about.
It's such a great run, though, because it really is so true. All these great people, all of the ones who have done the most in society, all...
What did you think they were going to be like? It's so dumb. Like, why would you think that, I mean, like Louis being a pun, it's like, so Louis C.K., the most non-linear thinker, one of the most non-linear, incredible thinkers alive.
Yeah.
You thought he was going to be linear about sex? What? Why would you think you're talking about Louis C.K., the guy who asked Donald Rumsfeld live on Opie and Anthony, "Are you a lizard person?" Asked him point blank, and people were like, he's got some kinks. You're kidding me.
I remember
wow.
I remember when the Woody Allen stuff first started to break. I was like a young comic in New York, and Jon Stewart was on stage just doing sets, and he was like, "You people are shocked? Have you seen his movies?
Yeah,
of the giant tit chasing him across Central Park."
Yeah, which one? The pedophilia one?
Yeah, right.
Manhattan is a pedophilia.
He's
romance.
dating right. She's 15 or 14.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I wasn't alive when it came out, but I don't understand how people were like, yes. And then I saw it and I was like, well, I wasn't outraged. I just thought that's what people were like.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's all like sophisticates.
It's such a nice thing because the way you did it, it's sports people, it's comedians, it's entertainers, and and the list just keeps on going. And you could have kept.
I could have kept going for the longest. Yeah. Endlessly.
Endlessly.
So I should have Slash from Guns N' Roses, another biography I read. Slash this is alcohol, but Slash used to be such a bad alcoholic that he would, when he was falling asleep at night, he would prepare 2 giant screwdrivers, vodka and orange juice, and put them under his bed. He'd wake up in the middle of the night, refuel, and go back to bed.
Oh my God.
This is verbatim from his biography. So like, is that the only way you can do guitar solos like that? I don't know, guys.
I know.
It might. What if it is? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? It's like,
I just saw a similar story about the Van Halen brothers.
Eddie Van Halen got tongue cancer. I mean, he was a very, very bad alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys were just, so do you feel like we have to do more? Like, should you and I be more reckless? Yeah, like we're very good at it. We're both very good at being very human and always being a little self-aware. Like, should we let it rip a little bit just for maybe? I mean, put a time limit on it. Maybe 3 years. I mean,
that's the thing. I had an idea originally when the Louis stuff came out that there should be like anti-woke zones that you can go to, and it's like Miramax movies and Woody Allen movies and Bill Cosby live on stage. Like you can go for like bachelorette parties.
Oh, really?
and I would like to be more Yeah, I feel like in some ways I blew it when I could have been crazy.
Because I would always see like different people when we were coming up, like they were drunk or whatever, and like people would have to get them to their shows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the reason I wasn't is because I had to get myself to the shows.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like having people around. That's my issue. Is that it is.
I don't need handlers.
Now, having said that, I would argue that these are my best batch of jokes, and I wouldn't have gotten there without DMT and ayahuasca. So like that's my version of psychopath and drug addict. It's like I'm not a drug addict, but I'm a drug user.
How many times have you done them?
I call it Aya because I have such a casual relationship. I say it so much.
I thought you were going to say.
No, you thought
I have done.
Between 15 and 20 times.
What?
Yeah.
I thought that was a one-off. Like you do it once in a warehouse.
15? If you're weak, it's a one-off. How funny do you want your special to be? Yeah, 15 to 20, and then DMT.
15 to 20.
Yeah, DMT. I did once, but it felt like a million times. So like, and that was the one that broke me, and then I kind of I've recongealed. But yeah, like
when Blocks came out, was that when you did DMT?
I think that's done DMT while I was performing Blocks, but I had to stay in the Blocks.
Right.
I was kind of not even feeling that way anymore, but I was. So this was like, this is DMT Neal. The first and second special thanks, and the special is ayahuasca and DMT.
The what?
In Crazy Good, special thanks.
Right.
Ayahuasca, DMT.
Oh, right.
I have make no bones about it. So like, I am living proof that I guess drugs, you can't get there without drugs. I hate to say it, but in my experience, it got me an ability I didn't have prior.
You never smoked weed?
No, I don't like weed.
Right.
Although I haven't done it since, I haven't smoked weed in 6,
when you were a
7
child.
years. Yeah.
So no drugs up until that point, really.
I would smoke weed. I tried smoking weed 6 years ago, and it was just like, I hate this.
Yeah.
But I know people that do weed therapeutically, like like eye mask, shake.
Oh, really?
People, yeah. So I feel like that part of weed might work for me, but I feel whatever it's supposed to do, I think I've gotten there via other.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because like if you smoke weed early on, like that kind of kicks doors open. Yeah. Initially. Yeah. But it does not.
It didn't do it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But who knows?
Is it? I mean, that's a lot of times. Is it as potent, or do you feel like you've gotten to the end of it?
No, it's very potent.
You want to keep doing
potent.
It?
Well, it's like it's a spiritual experience. So it is. I connect with what I understand as a God central creation force.
Right.
So it's
each time.
Yeah.
And you remember it, and like when you go into a new one, you do it again. Are you like, oh, I'm back here? Are you conscious
what
of
happens
that?
is, or what's happened to me is, I kind of have it with me all the time now.
Right.
Like I don't need to do it as often.
Yeah,
I do because it's helpful, but it gets into the groundwater. Right. So then you kind of have it all the time. Right. And then what's happened with ayahuasca is it because I've done it, it turns other drugs into ayahuasca, meaning if I do mushrooms.
Good coffee.
Well, yeah, I mean, mushrooms becomes ayahuasca. Same experience. Right. Very similar. Yeah. Like slightly different tone, but same. Yeah. And
that's
MDMA.
Interesting. Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Is a common, it becomes ayahuasca. So it's just like a spiritual God thing.
When I was younger and did mushrooms and LSD and that, it was very similar. Like it was that all of a sudden, these are no longer just the woods around your house. This is now this life force
Everything,
that is creeping through the windows and the air and your eyebrows and
you're
your soul.
in it. You are it. You're experiencing it.
I wonder how different it is.
It might not be different, but that sounds similar to what I experienced.
Yeah.
I mean, so if you can get there, I never got there. I would just get in like the whoa. I was just caught up in like the whoa. There was no. I didn't know that you could. I guess you could get there without knowing. I just didn't. It was always in sort of a social setting,
right?
So
seeing a band or something.
Doing these things.
Do you have to cry a lot? Do you cry every time?
No. I cry. I mean, there have been times where I like really cried. Mm-hmm. And there have been times like Theo talked about it. He cried so much he didn't understand how he had liquids left.
Right.
But I've cried sometimes, other times not.
Right.
Other times kind of fun. I've written bits on it. It's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you're there. It's like a double consciousness thing.
So you can just do it at home now? You don't have to,
I can't. Well, you can. I have a friend who did. There are people that do it at home. I like the communal 25 people.
Right. Really?
Experience.
Because you just said that you don't having people around. And for me, like that part of that tripping balls doesn't bother me. It's the doing it while these other folks are around.
Here's the good news.
Yeah.
They got their hands full. They're not giving up. They're trying not to puke or they're trying to puke or they're trying to just hold on to sanity.
Right.
Or they're dealing with a sexual assault from 40 years. Like they're just dealing. They don't care what you're going through. Like best of luck. And there are people that will help you. But like, it's anyone who's like, I don't want to get recognized. I'm like, no one's going to care.
Yeah. No one cares
about what you do. Who cares?
Right.
Yeah, like
and there's people there that are there to help.
Yes. Guardians. Yeah.
Right. Did you ever have a bad trip on it?
Yeah. Many.
Yeah.
Many. Thanks for asking. I had incredible trips. And then I had another one where I was thrust into outer space and the universe died and I was by myself in outer space.
Oh, geez.
And I breathed loudly as a beacon just in case they sent to look for me. I don't even know what the logic of this was, but
wow.
I breathed loud. I went, It's called samadhi breathing, and I was doing it with Ian Edwards. And I was like, hey, how long was I breathing like that for? And he goes, 3 hours. It's like, wow.
Is that how long it lasts?
It lasts 6 or well,
6?
If you drink more, it'll be like 7-8 hours.
Wow.
There's second cup and third cup, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So,
jeez.
So, but
3 hours of breathing like that.
Yeah. I don't remember. I didn't expect. I was losing my mind. I didn't know what was happening.
Wow.
So, but
could you crack?
I cracked from 5-MeO DMT, which is a toad excretion or excretion, whatever.
Someone gave that to me.
5-MeO?
Yeah, the little flakes of the toad stuff.
Yeah. Where is it?
Do you have it? I threw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
Because I was alone.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
Like a budget hotel in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And someone gave it to
me. We
me.
figured that's where you were.
Yeah. It was like, Erica Rose was with me on the road.
So this is fairly recently.
This was like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And she was just like, I don't think this is the time or place to do this by yourself in the days.
No, it's also like it's way too profound for that. Like, you gotta give it some respect. So that broke me.
It did break you.
Yes, which I've talked about a lot.
Yeah.
On other podcasts, so I won't bore you. But it took me about 1.5 years to recover fully. Yeah.
Wow.
So. It broke me in November of 2021, and I recovered March of 2023.
Jeez. All right.
Like full recovery.
We're not doing that one, Joe.
Yeah.
We don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, but although maybe. No, think about it. You got to have an open mind, man. Are you cool or not, man?
I'm microdosing now. Not currently, but in general.
Yeah.
And
how do you like it?
I like it a lot.
Great. You forget about it.
Totally forget about it.
And you're like, oh,
You're just like,
I wasn't perturbed at all today.
Right. That's exactly it.
Yeah. And then you're like, why was that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Very similar, but though, to the same feeling I get at the end of the day if I've worked out. And like if I work out and then at the end of the day, I'm like, I wasn't really bothered. It was like, because I worked out.
Do you, how often are you working out?
Like 3 times a week.
Great.
Yeah.
You got a help? You got anybody helping you?
No, I'm a Peloton.
Okay.
Or running, but mostly Peloton.
This is good as that. If you guys want to buy a Peloton, I'm looking to get rid of mine.
Are you really?
Of course I am.
You couldn't do it?
I didn't mind. I just don't. I don't think bicycling is hard enough. As like or it just feels like a one zone exercise. It just feels kind of like.
That's because you're not with Matt Wilpers going in the power zone exercise.
Oh, that must be my mistake.
It gets really hard.
Yeah, I believe it. Also,
I'm on a 4-year streak with the Peloton.
Are you really?
Of doing it at least once a week.
That's great.
It kind of hooked me.
Did you lose weight, gain definition? Did anything
my legs are bigger.
Yep.
My legs are stronger. I lost weight, and I just really the thing that really kicked it in was I started it before the pandemic, and then during the pandemic it kept me sane.
Yeah.
It was like more of a mental during those times.
Yep.
And just for overall health.
Yeah, like I'm not. There's no pandemic. Nothing's changed.
Yeah. And you're also very skinny, and I get fat.
I would get fat.
You would?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's impossible for you to be fat.
There's fat Brennans.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Is there fat photos of you?
No, but there are fat other members of my family.
Right.
But yeah, I could get there if I didn't pay attention.
Did you go to church when you were a kid?
Yeah.
When you're on Aya, did any of that show up?
No. It's
none of it.
The only, my belief is that this is actual church. Mm-hmm. Like this is what they said church was supposed to be.
Right.
Church is like a dry rehearsal. It's like a dry walkthrough.
Right.
Like, and then we're going to drink a thing, and then we'll all get some, little bread disc, and it's got,
You kind of feel it, right? You feel kind of feel
like,
it.
Right? So this, but it is this is, okay.
Right. I mean,
this is what they're pretending it was.
Or striving for.
Yeah.
But Jesus didn't show up.
No, and my interpretation, and what's interesting is that there are people that are like, did you meet God? Like they don't want me to have been an atheist and then been like, oh, okay. Something about it threatens me. I'm like, it's not denominational. I don't care. And also like, I'm not saying you should, I'm not saying don't be gay or don't, whatever the thing, don't eat meat in a certain order.
Other people.
Yeah.
It's just other people.
So no, my belief now is that religions are like regional, like there are hamburgers and then there's Five Guys and In-N-Out and McDonald's and Burger King. And that's basically what religions are.
Right.
They're regional franchises for a god. There's regional franchises.
A way to go say hi to God.
And Islam's like, we'll take the Middle East and, you get it. You guys are better.
Did it seep in? Has it seeped in to the way you live? Do you treat people differently? Do you have different sense of patience in the world? Do you have less pride? Is there any of that?
There is a longer explanation. It kind of reset my brain. Not to like clean slate, but it made me, the things that I was aware of, it made me less misogynistic, just automatic, like reflexively. My first reflex, as you guys know, is misogyny. And stuff that doesn't even make sense. Like I'm somehow turned Israel and Gaza into misogyny. I'm kidding. It made me less misogynistic, and then long story short, I started taking MDMA therapeutically. Right, every 3 months or so, I'll take MDMA, and that has one of the times I was able to really like forgive my enemies. Or not my enemies, like the people that have hurt my feelings.
Constructed, right.
And And the next day I was like, why was I able to do that? And I believe the reason I was able to do that on MDMA was because I had serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin flowing and like kind, loving chemicals.
Right.
Normally, most of my life, I've had cortisol and adrenaline. So I realized like, oh, what I consider a personality is just the chemicals I had on hand. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like trained myself, so to speak, to just like not listen to those negative chemicals. Mm-hmm. And it's by sort of cutting them off at the pass and being like, no, I'm not. That's not even true. I don't even believe that.
Right.
Because it was misinterpreting my life. I was the victim and I was, and it just, everything was out to get me. And meanwhile, like my life's incredible.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't see it because of the chemicals.
Uh-huh.
So I've like slowly weeded those chemicals out, and DMT is not DMT, MDMA, and I have done. I think it's just gave me it's kind of reset the chemistry a little bit.
Yeah.
And now,
yeah.
What were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
Now now I'm more interested in gratitude, which is the corniest shit on earth. But I was doing a gratitude journal checklist, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Rainn Wilson on my podcast, and he was saying, we were talking about Islam praying 5 times a day. Muslims pray 5 times a day. And I was saying, that's about the right amount. Because you forget.
Yeah.
The Catholic version of that joke, or the Christian version, is there's churches on every corner.
Yeah.
Because it takes a block for church to wear off. You're like, you come out and you're like, you know what? I'm going to be a good person. Then halfway down the road, you're like, fuck everybody. Right? And then you're like, no, church. I'm a good person.
Back up the steps.
Yeah. So I've started doing the checklist 3 or 4 times a day.
Right.
And it's on my phone.
Yeah.
10 to 6 and 10.
Oh,
10,
nice.
10 a.m. 6. And it did, and I go, and it takes 45 seconds.
It's really pretty fascinating.
And it makes the negative thoughts the outliers. It makes the negative thoughts like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you talking like that?
Yeah.
Like it's like an asshole. It sounds like the asshole it is.
Yeah.
And you're like, why are you talking like that?
I mean, such an important part of it is just to be conscious of that. Like once you realize, I used to say, look what my brain's doing.
Yeah.
Look what he's up to now.
Yeah.
And it's like it starts chirping. But it is very interesting that all the things you're listing of like, those are the things that religions are trying to crack. It's all the same behaviors and insecurities and spitefulness, and it's like all of the religions. Like you said,
that's the challenge for religions and the necessity of religions is that people are not, our default settings are like not great.
No.
And so if you can crack it a little bit,
exactly,
and they try to crack it with punishment. I mean, ultimately, Buddhism doesn't. Buddhism's the only one's like, just your thoughts are bad. Mm-hmm. Try to separate try to increase the distance between your thoughts and your impulses.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or your impulses and your actions. Like,
right.
Just give yourself 3 extra seconds if you can.
Yeah.
But what was lucky for me is like, I've heard about Buddhism and be like, fuck that. I got shit I got to do. You know, Buddhism ain't going to write these jokes and all that shit. And then I was kind of like given it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
100%.
chemically given it.
Right.
And
right.
I don't even think like, and I worked with, no, like I was given it. So I say all this stuff not implying that if you aren't doing this, you're weak, but I will say that the checklist thing is really easy, and it takes so little time, and it is laughably better. Yeah. It's like so much better. And the Muslims are facing that direction and getting on their knees all these times a day, and then Catholics are just remember
going through the rosary. Yeah. And whatever helps you create order that can help you get through the day.
Yes. Or just remembering the basic idea of it.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Right.
the basic premise of this is that you're a spirit in a body and not just this body. Like, this is literal. Everything is literal, and everything is a competition and about status and all the stuff that you...
You know, it's funny, though. I was talking about this with Sarah. It's nice to, like, learn these lessons and ultimately get there. I don't know how effective our careers would have been if we learned it at 18.
I know. Well, that's what I always say, like, I don't want to be like the drug addict who's like, don't do drugs, kids. They were incredible, but don't you do them.
Yeah.
They're also very bad. And it's like we all got high for a long time on status and accomplishments and all that stuff.
And you need a little thrust. You need to work hard.
Yeah.
You need to, like...
It needs to be like the psychopaths and drug addicts thing. Like, it's not coming from a good place.
Right.
No one moves out here to, when people were mad at Ellen, I'm like, no one moved out to LA to be kind.
I know.
I'm going to LA to be kind, everybody. You'll see. I'm going to be at the top of Kindness Mountain, and it's going to be me and Gandhi. Virulent racist.
And a lot of the analysis of people that become successful is, when did you meet them? Like, if you met some successful people that we know early on, the people that met them early on were like, oh my, what an asshole.
Yeah.
And then if you met them after success kind of hit and stuff, you're like, great guy.
Oh, that's the talking to Chappelle about that is always the worst, because he'll be like, that guy, he's a nice guy. I'm like, was he nice to you? Did he find a way to be nice to one of the most talented people on earth? Wow, what a mensch this guy is.
Yeah,
but and also, it's just it's a separate. What's interesting is this special is more popular than my other ones, and it's hard not to get invested in that, the economy of that. It's hard not, like, I take Instagram off my phone and I'm like, let me just look.
Yeah.
And then I go, and then I'm like, well, I am a baker and I would like to see if the cookies are selling.
Right.
But meanwhile, like, I can see they're selling if I go on Netflix. I can see how well they're selling.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, but what are the individual tastes?
Well, that's
that people have?
I always say, you know, everyone always goes through this of, oh, I don't read comments. And it's like, I think it is pretty toxic to read comments unless I get an inkling that they're going to be pretty favorable.
Yeah.
Like, you start feeling the momentum.
Well, you know,
like,
I know. The problem is,
it's okay to read these.
and I've been telling myself, Neal, you're opening the window and asking for a vampire to come in.
It's really
literally
true.
what I'm doing. I'm like, dude, you're asking for vampire. I did catch a great negative comment. Some of them are so it's so funny I can't stand it.
Yeah, I know.
And the guy said, I'm assuming he was black. He was referencing Woody from Toy Story. He wrote very simply, why he stand like Woody. And if you watch Crazy Good, I stand like Woody. And I actually know why, but the fact that he nailed it, because I was like, why am I standing like this?
Why do you stand like Woody?
One of my many modalities that I tried, a thing called Rolfing, where they kind of rearrange like your hips and and I like relearned my walk like 2 or 3 years ago, like a different, and I don't think it's any different, but like, I know the mechanics of how you're supposed to walk,
right?
But it makes you kind of mince. What we used to call mincing. It makes you so like my right foot is up and like in a little pirouette, and then I looked at my Instagram and the opening shot of all of the things is me like mincing. That's why he stand like Woody, and that, kids, is the story of why he stand like Woody.
Our business is definitely everything that you learn spiritually, whether through religion or Aya or what have you, all those valuable lessons of how to be healthy and live your life. What we do is really not, it really is not good for it.
No.
and I don't the analysis, the self-awareness, the how do I look, is this okay for people, the
just
approval,
it's
the
just
pride,
approval. It's just soliciting approval.
Yeah,
it's just it's a recipe for some real.
Yeah,
I mean, it can be. At this point, I'm just embarrassed. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just embarrassed. Like, this is so undignified that I'm like, whenever I open Instagram, I go, what does anyone have to say about me? Literally anyone.
Well, to push back a little bit is the cool thing is the saving grace is if you do find your way and you do have a little less pride involved, you can justify what we do by the craft, and you wrote great jokes, and it's nice that people see that, and you're giving them new thoughts, and you got better at the craft. You did something to the level that you're always aspiring to. And you did it on this one, right? Like you got another step in your thing. That I think you can structure and be okay. It's not I'm doing this, which you see a lot of specials. I'm doing this so I can be.
Yeah, well, a lot of specials is you get a bunch of fans, and then you serve them garbage,
right? Yeah.
But you don't. They don't think they.
That's not
they
craft.
act like it's not garbage, and you act like it's not garbage. Gary Shandling was on Letterman 25 years ago. And I remember watching it, and Shandling does a joke. It's getting an applause break, and he leans over to Letterman and goes, "Notice the older we get, the worse the jokes get, but the bigger the responses."
Whoa.
And I heard it, and I was like, Neal, make a note of that, because it is, I told somebody, I was like, it's an abuse of power.
Yeah.
It's just an abuse of power.
Right.
I said it to Mulaney, and he was like, I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, just an abuse of power. Mulaney, don't be abusive.
Yeah.
Like, you can get away with it. They don't have a standard after a certain point.
No, which is why I mean, at a certain point, you can't do this, but like, I have like a nice big following I can tour on, but not everybody knows me. So it's very healthy to walk into the Comedy Cellar or the Comedy Store at 10 o'clock and
who?
Yeah. And all right, what do you got?
Yeah.
You can't get away with it. It was also
funny seeing some of the waitresses at the store last time. We're like, I watched your special. And I go, yeah, it's, she's like, I hadn't seen it all together. I go, yeah, it's better for an hour straight not having to follow Bert. Isn't it? Like, when people are there for me, it's like, oh, this is how this is in full flight. You're watching at the comedy store, you're watching like a fucking wounded bird half the time,
struggling,
just trying to manage the person in front of me.
But it makes it better. It definitely helps.
It does.
It definitely helps.
That's how it. I mean, that's the good and bad news about comedy is it's so hard.
Yeah.
It doesn't even the thing I'm talking about, abusing power.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a huge laugh,
right?
From a mediocre, no matter how famous you are.
How hard was your decision to add a couple things in the special that break out of the stand-up for a bit? I do a commercial, and my thing with all of this stuff now is we're competing with everything. So if I can just cut to the commercial that I just use stock footage and I sync it up and I do it correctly. Yeah.
And I'm basically doing voiceover.
Yeah.
I don't care if you don't like it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, people have a lot of options.
Right.
So if you can frame it to look like TikTok for 13 seconds.
Yeah.
No one's complained.
No, I would. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So just make it more dynamic.
Right, right.
I don't know if it was, it's weirdly based on Chris Rock walks paces so much.
Yeah.
Because Eddie Murphy told him, if you don't move on stage, the audience doesn't have to look at you because they know where you are. So that's why Eddie walks. That's why Chris walks. I don't know who told Eddie.
Because if
you're just sitting there, if you're just standing on stage, if I'm in the audience, I'm like, I don't have to worry about where you are. Yeah.
Right.
So those guys, Chris especially, is like predatory with the walk.
Yeah.
Eddie's more just like set up, like, I got some busy stuff to tell you.
Yeah.
So that's with this, I'm like, I move a little bit. I mince, of course, because of my new rebooted walk. Man, what a waste of time. And wearing a weight around it was so dumb you can't believe it. And yeah, like, so I'm just like, yeah, let's cut to a commercial. I don't need to. It's like I'm not precious about it. I would do graphics. I don't care.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
There was a Comedy Central, this is probably 12 years ago, they did a clip of mine and added animation. Mm-hmm. And then I remember Michael Che going like, is the whole special like this? And I was like, no, kind of insulted. And then I was kind of like, but it could be.
Right.
Like, it wouldn't be, no one has complained.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if it's proof that it works, but I would say that it's definitely not, it hasn't made it a worse experience for people.
No, it's a fun little pop out.
Yeah.
I actually there's not one in the last half.
Very, very end.
At the very, very end?
Yeah, the callback at the end.
Oh, right.
I don't want to spoil it. There's like for 3 seconds.
Yeah. Right. Oh, right. It comes back up. Right. But yeah,
I was gonna move the sports
distance
people up. I was gonna do graphics of the sports people, but I'm like, people know who they are.
I like the set. The set was very cool.
Yeah, that was expensive.
Yeah, I thought so.
And I paid for it.
Yeah.
And I'm still paying for it to this day.
I think I'm gonna pay for music instead of
I didn't
that.
pay for music.
I know.
I could have cleared Kendrick Lamar's song. He was nice enough to clear it for me. $50 grand.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been worth it.
But what's the backdrop? That's not cheap.
No. But it was one of those things, it had been ordered before I saw how much it was going to be.
Right.
So then you have to act like you're cool with it. Like I had to act like stubbing my toe didn't hurt. Where I was like, nah, that's a regular amount of money for me to spend on a set. What the fuck? I'm still wincing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but and then Burr was like, no, I like that. It shows the audience you're not just throwing it up there because it
looked good.
The blue velvet curtain, it's just getting a little tired.
Yeah, it looked really
40 years.
Since I did a theater in Poughkeepsie, New York last weekend, and the first act who was there was Mark Twain. Mark Twain,
sure,
who's like you ever see the Ken Burns documentary on?
Yeah, of course,
it's so great.
Lost a bunch of his money inventing an early printing press, and
I saw his first typewriter. He was involved with the first typewriter too.
Yeah, I think it might have been that, and he lost a bunch of money. And who wrote Death of a Salesman?
What's his face?
Miller. Arthur Miller. Yeah, Arthur Miller does a quote about like, yeah, writers aren't good with money. It's kind of proving my point. Like we're not going to be good at everything.
Yeah.
You're going to be good at money.
Yeah.
And you're going to be good at comedy, and you're going to be an idiot.
I know about everything else.
Everything else, you're going to be a fucking idiot. Even Mark Twain.
Mark Twain
especially
had to go on tour.
Yeah. He's the first comedian.
He literally
is the first stand-up.
Yeah.
Because he was A, bipolar.
Yep.
And B, once I heard he was bipolar a couple years ago, I was like, of course he's bipolar. Yeah. But like, no one can write like that normally. You can't have 150-year-old bangers. He's got bangers.
Like, it was so great. It was very cool. I have to, just holding him in such high regard, and then like you're actually on the stage in the same spot as him was very cool. One time I went to go see, there's not Utica, not Emory. There's a place where he had a writing cottage, that the octagonal
house,
thing, that his sister-in-law built for him to get him out of the house. Mm-hmm. And they have that on a campus in upstate New York. I'm spacing on the university. So anyway, I was on the road, and I'm like, I looked it up online. I'm like, I think I'm within striking distance. I can go see this. I was like, I better get there early.
People are really going to want to see this writing space. If I know people.
In the winter, I got there.
Oh, yeah.
Not only was I the only one there, I had to like get security to open up the gift shop for me.
Yeah. They had to look
That's
at
where
a
I saw the
sheet.
typewriter. It was like this
Yeah. He lost $100,000 or something on it.
Yeah.
Like back then.
Nobody cared. I was there. I was shocked that there wasn't a line like down the end of campus.
Val Kilmer, the actor, did a Mark Twain like live show.
Oh yeah.
And it was like real, and he'd wear heavy makeup. And if you're wondering how funny Dave Chappelle is, Chappelle had the idea of, and this is, I don't know, 8 years ago, that him and Val would go to a Lakers game, sit on the court. Val would dress as Mark Twain, and Dave would dress as Jim from Huckleberry Finn. It's so insanely funny. Where you're like, it's so insanely funny.
So great.
That's Mark Twain.
Yeah. First guy out on tour.
Yep. Had to do it. Dickens toured too.
Did he?
Yeah. Dickens was like a rock star.
I went to his house when I was in
course you
London. I did. Again, two other people.
Have you ever been to the Randolph Hearst,
Hearst Castle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
That
really worked way better than I thought it would. I don't even know why. I was like, it's because you get to be inside a madman's dream.
And what's weird is now seeing Chris Hardwick just like making an omelet in the other room.
All right, hold on. Let me do the math on that. I didn't realize that he was
Hardwick married into the Hearst.
Yes,
right.
Yes, but I was like, wait,
that was a good joke, wasn't it, Joe?
No,
Chris Hardwick in a robe.
Don't cut that. Absolutely over my dead body, or put it behind the Patreon. One or the other, you decide.
Oh,
are you? You're recording, and you let me out of directing it.
Yes.
Thank you again.
That was so funny. We really had a funny exchange.
Tom called me and asked me if I would direct his. I don't think I'm telling any secrets. His new Netflix special.
Yeah.
And
I was like, who am I going to get to direct?
I begged him to unask me because I did.
We had a conversation back and forth. Within 15 minutes, we went from, "Hey, would you ever consider like doing? Yeah, maybe. No, probably not. Let's pretend you never asked me, so we can just go on with our relationship."
I don't want to have this. I don't like rejecting people.
Yeah,
people that I like, especially. And now here's the.
But it wasn't a rejection,
right? It was just like, I'm not like, you suck. I'm not going to direct it because
really
I don't think they should record you. It was. I just didn't want to direct. I would have had to. You have to go to the city beforehand, weeks before.
From then 2 weeks from when we spoke, you would have had to get on a plane and go to Washington D.C. to check out the venue. Mm-hmm. And there are directors who don't blink at that.
Yeah,
they just do that.
Yeah, and I do that sometimes also for better money. The Netflix directing fee is bad.
Yeah.
And the HBO directing fee is good, which is why I am directing somebody's HBO hour. And I'll tell you how much afterward.
Right.
Around the same as my backdrop.
Oh, really?
It's backdrop money. I didn't even put it together.
Backdrop money?
Backdrop money.
Yeah.
And the residuals are good on HBO.
Why are the rates different?
Because it's cable. It's cable.
Oh.
It's television.
Right.
It's cable television. So
right.
You get like it's shocking.
Right. Are you worried about the cicadas?
What about them?
You haven't heard?
Is that a euphemism? Is that a racial euphemism?
I don't know. Could be.
They're coming over the border?
They're going to emerge. And this is the first time in a century loud. They're all coming at the same time.
But it happened before.
Yeah, like 100 years ago.
I remember. How was your eclipse?
I was on a plane, and I thought, I'm going to see more than everybody.
See it.
And it's nothing. It didn't even get darker. There was nothing happening. I was close to landing in L.A.
It was also like, it was the exact experience of a person who just travels a bunch. That's how it felt. It was like I was in the day before I was in New York, and then I was in Austin, and it was light out, and then it was dark out, and then it was light out, and it was like I wasn't like, what's going on? It was like, no, you just, I don't know. I never know where I am if I'm traveling too much. Like,
I know.
I don't know what time it is.
Did I ever tell you this one? One time I was, you know, I do kind of love that moment when you don't know where you are.
Yeah.
You know, when you wake up and your eyes are closed, but just that beat of, wait a minute, where am I? And I had my eyes closed.
Did I murder someone?
Yeah, I had my eyes closed. I was like, where am I? Oh, wait. Oh, I know I got to get to the airport. Ah, damn. And I opened my eyes and I was on the plane.
Wow. That's a good one.
You
were on the flight that
I was on the flight
you had to get for.
Yes. I was already reclined and had fallen asleep and woke up and didn't know where I was, but I remembered, oh shit, but I do got to get to LAX. And I was already...
That's happened to me where if I travel too much, I'll wake up and have no idea where I am.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know how to figure out where I am.
It's the best.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
No, it is. There is something I like. It's like your kink.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's really good. Does it turn you on at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was
craziest thing.
Yeah, so and now I'm here for a week, and then I got to go. And then I got to scout.
Yeah.
I got to scout for the other guy.
Right.
And I got to go to New York, for a day.
Is he as funny as me?
I don't know. I mean, I there's no way to answer. It's a tie.
It's a tie?
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Well,
don't you think I'm a little funnier
than whoever we're doing? From then anonymous
we don't know who
comedian?
they are, but right? A little bit.
Yeah, you can tell by the tone of Neal's voice that you're a little bit funny.
But he can't say it because he is going to
I
actually
got
work with them.
Look, don't blow this from me.
I'm getting backdrop.
Come on,
my money
I gotta
back
get
for the
this
backdrop.
money, man. Shut your mouth.
I'm going to get it back.
So that, and then are you? Yeah. I mean, do you get caught up in the? I was talking the past couple weeks about things about the meaning around this, and the meaning that you've come to is like the practice of it.
Yeah.
That's where
this is my craft. This is what I'm here to do. Write and create funny things. Yeah. And entertain people and hopefully make their life a little better and give them an hour of a break and get as good as that as I possibly can. And it's satisfying for me and it makes other people happy and it, puts my kids through school.
You forget how little people laugh. Genuinely.
Oh my God.
Because it is like the way we may make them laugh is probably better than there's something about like structuring a thing so it's a bit of like a mystery surprise. Yeah,
I mean that's a huge, like when they come out of those shows, they're not going to laugh like that again until they see.
I've always said like
someone else
go into
come
a
through.
movie or something. I was like, what?
Yeah, like maybe
now that
two laughs.
Stand up. People are like, stand up so popular, you can believe it. I'm like, it should have been this popular the whole time.
Right, yeah.
You and I both remember being at the Cellar or the Boston Comedy Club, and it's like Chappelle, Geraldo, Jon Stewart, just people doing Gaffigan, Attell, Louis, just Sarah, Todd, Barry, Nick DiPaolo, just people doing $15 jobs.
Yeah. I know.
And it's like, I would just go like, this is so good.
I know.
These shows are so good and no one cared.
Yeah.
And I was like, why does no one care?
Yeah.
I thought I was losing my mind a little bit. I'm like, this is so good.
The delivery systems were so bad.
Yeah. And I guess it seemed sweaty or pushy.
Right. Which it still can feel. Like every once in a while on Instagram, you'll see like a poster of like the wacky night coming up, and there's this one and that one and this guy and that girl, and you're like, oh
the sort of it looks like a talent show. It
really can take.
By the way, it looks like a talent show in the Philippines. Like there's a lot of
really
stars and graphics and pinks. Like
wacky,
like, God,
typeface.
Is there any other way we could do this?
Right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So it does get, it can be embarrassing, but
at its worst. But you know, but that's all. It's sifting it out.
Yeah,
but you
maybe go to the Filipino talent show.
What else worries you? So you're not worried about the cicadas?
No.
Anything else bothering you? Worrying you?
No, I feel very internally peaceful.
I am peaceful. That's the way you should say everything.
I know. I mean, they're not unrelated. So I do feel it's nice to be competent at something. And I was explaining to my girlfriend yesterday, because like Netflix told me the amount of popular the special is, and you were there. I looked at my girlfriend. I go, "What a fucking relief!"
Yeah,
like what a relief that it wasn't a waste of time.
Yeah,
like thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, Central Creation Force. Like it seemed like it might have been. It's like the time we were at the factory 15 years ago. It's like, this isn't going good for me. Like I didn't really know how to do it. So figuring out how to do it at a high level, and it wasn't always a foregone conclusion. So it's just nice to have done it and not even care about like, I hope so-and-so. I don't care. I've also just gotten a lot of dispassion for the haters. Because it's all imaginary anyway. It's all sci-fi.
100%.
And I don't care I just don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, all right.
Yeah, it's not for you.
It's popular. I don't care. It's good and popular. I don't know what I don't care.
Yeah.
So I'm less worried about I have less standing worry.
Yeah. But I mean, isn't that back to what we were saying of like, you the way you're describing this, you're taking pride in having grown and gotten good at this thing. You know what I mean?
Like, and that is very
you're not going to totally get out of it, because we are in a thing where you want a lot of people to see it, and if you have
it's like now it's a bit of a now
you
it's
put
like
out
the
a
horse
movie
race,
or a book, like, you know, and it doesn't hit like another one hit. You're like, oh well, why?
Yeah.
But by the time you're gathering that in, you're already making the next thing.
Yes.
You're already crafting and putting together another bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it's about like the wood chopping Zen part of it. Just like just chop wood.
Yeah.
Like that's the Zen saying. It's like, what should I do when I get? They're like, what should I do before enlightenment? Carry water, chop wood. What about after I get enlightenment? Carry wood. And then they switch it. They carry water, chop wood. Right. Like that's the shut the fuck up.
Right. Get to work.
Just fucking keep going. We need wood, motherfucker. Exactly. And again, this is not enlightened. It's this is ideally how my mental state, and then it fluctuates throughout the day.
Oh yeah,
but
100%.
Like ideally,
you have to
Can
constantly.
I eat some bread?
You have to constantly. Do we have the knife? You could tear it, but
I'll tear it.
We have that big serrated knife, don't we?
I need food.
You could also eat these cookies. Are you? Is this your vegan day? I know
my sugar day. It is. Actually, we moved it up to yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
We don't have butter, do we? It'll be hard. There you go, big guy.
Thanks, big guy.
This oatmeal cookie's pretty good. But it probably has butter in it.
Yeah, that's all right. Oh, it's great, man.
I assume Sunday would be your
It is my cheat day.
Your cheat day.
I go down to vegetarian.
Vegetarian from vegan.
Yeah.
Joe's vegan.
Hey, Joe, we should hang out. Let me chew. We'll cut this
That's
out.
hard.
It's good bread,
we can
though.
Clean it up.
Sourdough?
Good, right?
What is the cigarette thing?
I don't smoke,
In the movie Misery?
but I love this. I love holding it
You never smoked?
No.
Did Cynthia smoke?
No, we're not smokers. But I do love the act of this and carrying it and making points.
Yeah.
I love it.
Pretty cool.
I can't quit.
Pretty cool. No, you can't
quit.
not now.
That's really, I don't know how people do it.
A lot of people counting on you.
I don't know how people do it.
Hey, what happened to your daughters?
They're good. One's graduating from college. She's a woman now and going to be...
Bring her up. I'll be the judge of that.
You got a job for her?
What is she trying to... I actually don't have any job.
She's going into the arts.
What, does she got a plan?
Go to New York.
And see what happens?
Yeah, which I wholeheartedly... That's where you
Do you think there's a
build your
difference
community.
between when you went and when she would go now?
Yeah, it's always changing. I mean, she's a really great writer, and it's no joke. Like AI is shrinking writers' rooms drastically. There's a lot of like established writers that aren't writing, so I think that's going to change it. But there'll be new.
What is it like
production
for television
stuff for her.
or something?
Yeah, maybe. She wants to start in theater.
Is AI writing theater?
No. And they're not producing, and it's live performance, and she'll find her way.
No, but I'm just wondering about AI.
I think there's a lot of AI, and it's going to keep increasing. I think there's a lot of... I mean, look, it wrote some of your act and your special.
Yeah. About
It's going to...
80%.
And it's going to get better, and it's going to keep... you could just see there.
Soon we won't have to podcast.
They'll
do it for us.
Oh, that would be so great.
Oh, can you fucking imagine? There's parts of their job I'm like, they better not come for stand-up. And I'm like, if you could please come for podcasting. It would mean the AI, if you're listening, and we know you're listening, you're always listening, please make it so we don't have to keep doing this.
Keep going on.
We're begging you. AI, I'm begging you, AI.
I like your podcast.
Thank you. It's fun to do.
It's fun to do, and it's also fun when it's a mutual friend and you're talking. It's like,
you'll hear things you might not hear otherwise.
Yeah,
because it's invasive. But
subtly, but
but it's like people are game, which is nice.
Yeah,
and so I hope. I mean, I as much as I'm making fun of AI, look, AI, we bust balls. Look, AI, look at this tablecloth. What do you think?
Come on,
you're not gonna get your balls buzzed a little bit?
Yeah, let's go.
But yeah, it's fun, and I get to talk to people in a way I wouldn't normally talk to them.
Right,
which is kind of all you want.
I know exactly. Yeah, which is making me think I haven't hit you with anything really hard. I guess the religion to Aya thing was pretty good.
Yeah.
What's that? Do you ever see that
backdrop?
Do you ever see the David Frost Nixon interview?
I saw the
movie?
play. I saw the. I saw the play. Did they make a movie? I only see theater.
I think you're just like my daughter. And Nixon comes in. They're going to be jousting, unlike Tucker Carlson and Putin. And Nixon starts off. They're getting their mics on and they're getting ready to do the interview. And Nixon leans in. Did you fornicate last night?
Yeah. Nixon, one of the great lunatics.
God.
A real crazy person.
When you look at him just physically,
there's
hair,
no one who kind of looks like him.
No one's ever looked like that.
He looks like people look when you're on shrooms.
Yeah, like the nose,
like there's like
and the
cartoon
jaw
and like, oh.
Yeah.
Ghoulish.
Yeah.
And was able to get elected.
Because it wasn't all sewn up yet.
Yep.
That was a funny line in your thing of when you were talking about Rogan and then about
the most consequential political figures of 2024.
Yeah.
If you had asked me 20 years ago who would be the most consequential political figures of 2024, I would not have said the host of The Apprentice and the host of Fear Factor. Didn't see it coming. And by the way, I sent all the people I mentioned in the special. I sent the clips to them. I would have cut it out if Joe was upset. But like he was like he just wrote back like funny. Because it's fun. It's like you know you are and you shouldn't be.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's where he is.
Yeah.
So, like, didn't see it coming. And it's all a must-see TV promo.
Did you have to cut anyone out? You mentioned a lot of people.
No, there was nobody. I mean, I just made sure.
Yeah.
Everybody, either they mentioned it publicly.
Yeah.
Or if they hadn't,
You didn't ask for the permission on the Louis joke.
I didn't, but
Yeah.
that joke writes itself.
That's just, yeah. That was so good.
That joke, I didn't ask for permission, but
No,
but neither did he.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, guys. Man, come on. I did a lot of DMT, guys. The jokes like that just occur to me.
Is Montreal Comedy Festival coming back?
What, have you heard it isn't?
Oh, I know that it's shuttered this year. I didn't know.
Are they not doing it this year?
Yeah, you didn't hear that?
No.
Yeah, first year. They're not doing it. They declared bankruptcy and they canceled the festival.
Oh, man. I didn't know that at
Yeah.
all. I didn't. Is that recent? Must be.
Like a month ago. Yeah.
Oh, it sucks.
I
had no
know.
idea.
It sucks.
That's a real bummer.
I
Because it's
know.
such an enchanted time.
It really is great. I'm very upset by it.
That sucks.
I hope it comes back. I
I do
don't.
too. Have you spoken to Bruce?
A little, but just in the beginning of it.
Yeah.
When it was like, yeah, they'll work it out kind of thing. But
All right.
it's time to check back in with them.
Let's check. Let's go to over to live.
Let's get
over
on
to
the
Bruce.
phone. Yeah, we should do
Bruce,
that.
are you on the air?
We should do that. Neal's showing more clips on his podcast.
Yeah.
So, FYI, deal with it. Are you guys not showing clips?
No, we don't show nothing.
You got to keep them under a certain length.
Oh, really?
Fair use, yeah. And mute them.
Can
if
I
comics are on, Brian Regan came on and I just made him do bits because I was like, I don't feel like clearing these bits. And then he was like, so, and I was like, I own the bit now. And he was like, what? You do? It was like great. He was full-fledged Brian Regan. Wait, so
best.
I don't own anything anymore? It was fucking hilarious. He's so funny.
Oh, he's so good.
It's unbelievable.
We just did this thing together, and he's just so funny.
Oh, yeah. How was that thing?
It was really good.
Great.
Yeah, it came out great. Now they're going to go try and set it up
what
somewhere. But just being on set with him and his brother,
Yeah.
the two
Dennis,
of them.
I haven't seen Dennis in 25 years.
Oh, my God. They're just, they're just as funny
Yeah.
as a human being can get. And then the two of them together, it's like, how did this happen?
Yeah. Yeah. He's amazing.
Yeah. Both of them just were so good. So we can do the rest of your day.
My lady got a babysitter
How long you had a lady?
almost a year.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like the lady.
or a year plus,
I feel
or-
like your lady is just the same way you did your special, where it's just no
Little
one
fast?
really knows about it, and then all of a sudden it's a big
It's
deal.
number 2. She's great. She's a therapist, British.
Wow.
Ali Wong had the greatest joke when I told her that I was dating a therapist. She's like, as a cheap Asian person, that's my dream. Free therapy. She's so funny.
Does she analyze you?
No, she does a thing
Hands
called gentle inquiry. I don't know if the word's gentle, but it's a positive inquiry or something. She just asks questions, and it's great. She's not.
Do you ever feel like she switched into mode?
Yeah, but I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'll take a little something.
Right.
It's like you do bits that are probably better than most husbands.
Right.
And Cynthia's like, hey, what's happening? Why are you being like this? So she's got a kid, so I spent time with him today.
Oh, nice.
He's 3.5, so he's an
wow.
incredible age.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
I understand all the parenthood stuff and like
Wow.
what it is and what it does to you. It's not my kid, so I'm sure it's like duller than it would be, but
Oh, you mean he's having an effect on you?
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's dull. No, I'm kidding. Everyone relax. No, but it's like really. I didn't have any younger brothers or sisters, so even that's kind of
right.
new. And my niece and nephews were just around a little bit, but not in a way. I was not old enough to see it, you know.
Yeah.
So, I had the thing where I was in New York for 6 days or on the road for 6 days, and I got back and he was bigger.
Yeah.
In a way that you can't really prove, but I was like, he's big, and she's like, yeah. And they all the new, so whatever,
It's
all the
amazing.
boring, but it is.
Look at you.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's good.
Not bad.
I like that for you.
Thank you.
So things are going great. So you
I
got a
have
big
zero
Netflix
complaints.
thing, and you got your Aya head all straight. Now you got a nice loaf of bread.
I mean, you can't tell me nothing.
I can't wait for it to all fall apart.
I mean, it's inevitable.
Well, this was really fun.
Yeah, great to see you, buddy.
Yes, so great to see you. And I got nothing
I've
else to
enjoyed
say.
every time I've seen you for 20 years.
Yeah, likewise. And you're a good director. You're a great director and a comic mind. What would you do with our set? What's it missing? We're gonna need some more stuff on the walls.
I would do more with the walls. I'd go full. I'd cover it.
Cover it. Oh, with tons of stuff.
Yeah, with everything.
Right.
With all pictures.
Okay.
And
the Joey in the vest thing, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You need someone to order around.
Yeah. Yeah, and like be disrespectful.
Right.
You know, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
All right. That's
I want you tomorrow to toast that.
What do I do?
Take a slice and then put it in the toaster.
Oh, yeah, fine.
With some butter.
Fine. Done.
You're the best.
You are.